The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Connor Schuh. I-70 was closed down in both directions yesterday after an awful wreck occurred between Oakley and Colby. Multiple people were injured in a crash at mile marker 67 after the heavy winds yesterday and low visibility present on the highway occurred, with 5 vehicles, including a semi-truck, involved in the accident. Initial SUVs was trapped under the semi-truck in the accident, according to the Thomas County Emergency Communications scanner traffic. The crash was reported around 1:20 last afternoon, 1:20 p.m., when the wind was really starting to pick up in the northwest Kansas area. Along with that, the town of Herndon was evacuated yesterday due to a wildfire. It was quite the day in weather, and we hope everyone was able to get through it safely with the heavy winds and wildfires. For these and other stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Today we'll have weakening south-southwesterly winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour and cooler but still mild for this time of year, with highs 60 to 65 under partly cloudy skies. A red flag warning in counties along highways 40 and Kit Carson, Colorado, where the southwesterly winds will be gustier at 35 to 45 miles per hour this afternoon. A stronger cold front tonight will drop lows into the mid-20s, along with the potential for a shot of light snow and flurries along highways 34 and 36 to start tomorrow morning. The rest of the day tomorrow will be cloudy and more like February, with highs in the upper 30s and low 40s and lows in the teens. The trough and low will move through on Friday and Saturday with colder temperatures, highs in the upper 30s to low 40s, with a chance for some light 1 to 2 inch snow Friday evening through Saturday morning. Overnight low temperatures will be in the upper teens and low 20s. That's meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time to step into premium capability at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland with strong GMC offers happening now. Get into a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with up to $7,000 in rebates, now $51,150. And if you're ready for a full-size luxury, the 2026 GMC Yukon features 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers. Full design, professional-grade performance. GMC delivers power and refinement wherever the road takes you. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or online at hurlchev.com.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
This is Bella Wright, senior cheerleader at Goodland Junior Senior High School. Winter sports and activities are underway with a full slate of action planned to take place in the coming weeks. Basketball, wrestling will host home games coming up, while esports, Scholars Bowl, and KMEA Music will be competing across the state. Stay up to date by clicking on the Cowboy information link on our website. The Black and Gold Booster Club, proudly supporting all students in their academics, activities, and athletics.
We need reliability with a personal touch. Call Miller Construction Services, LLC. With over 40 years of hands-on experience, this family-owned and operated company is your trusted construction leader across Northwest Kansas, Northeast Colorado, and Southwest Nebraska. Licensed, bonded, and proud to be a Chief Buildings Independent Authorized Builder, Miller Construction builds durable storage facilities, warehouses, municipal projects, and more. Be sure and visit millercs.com. That's millercs.com, and let's build your future together with Miller's Construction Service, LLC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
And Connor Schuh.
He's the new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps.
He's at the 10, the 5, he dives for the end zone, he's in! Touchdown, Cowboys!
To the pros.
Line drive, left field, base hit. Here comes McMahon, he'll score! Ball game!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Pulled down and stolen Copeland.
Righty dribble in the backcourt, ridden on the hip by High. Copeland whips it, corner, Abel, 3, fires, got it!
Tiptoes, long jumper left of the lane, missed it short, but another rebound for Mara. Wolverines' third chance, Burnett for 3. They go! 20! And a timeout, Matt Painter and Purdue!
And now on a curl, and Sanford Square shoots, scores! 3 balls, Sanford. He's got the single season 3-point record. Just passed up Kerry Cohorn, his 90th 3 of the year.
Nate works towards the lane, bounces it off to PJ. 3-pointer on the left, swish! PJ Haggerty with 27. There's a steal by Nate Johnson. He will take it down against Carr and jam it. Nate Johnson with 33, a career high.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Glad you decided to join us here on the Morning Blitz. Whether you're listening, of course, on KLOE FM 102.5, Rocket 102.5, and KSRadio.net, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Appreciate you doing so. Ross Volkmer, Connor Schuh back with you here for another hour here on this radio station, getting you set for another Wednesday. And I'm glad everyone has, I hope everyone has survived and is doing well. Connor, you survived a busy news day yesterday with the high winds. So any latest scoop on what you learned about the high winds from yesterday?
Well, I learned that fire tornadoes exist, which is scary, to say the least. You know, we had some really bad wildfires, of course, up in Herndon. They had to evacuate there, and then down at Liberal as well. God, it was bad in Southwest Kansas, especially. It was rough, but thankfully it's mostly subsided. So.
Yeah, very tough day yesterday. Of course, a really bad wreck on I-70 once again. That's unfortunately now 2 consecutive years that has happened where we've had a pretty bad wreck. This one, I don't think anywhere on the same level as the first one that happened last year during the state basketball tournament time. Still, though, pretty rough. I-70 being shut down for a good portion of yesterday afternoon as they tried to clean up all that happened there. So hopefully everyone is okay. Hope everyone is safe. And today should be a little bit better. Temperature is going to be cooler, 59 degrees the high, and definitely not going to be as windy. Still could be a little blustery at times, but nowhere near the same. I'll tell you, I always think my dad asked me a question. God, this was a couple weeks ago. He goes, Ross, do you remember in your lifetime it ever being this windy? Even when you live back in Nebraska? It's like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how much in my now 36 years of life plus, I look at them like, yeah, it's pretty darn windy all the time. And It's amazing and then, living out here with nothing to really stop the wind, whether that be hills or trees or anything to slow it down. It just kind of gets rolling, and here we have a whole bunch of dust. And so yesterday was not a great day local sports wise. A lot of things got postponed or canceled due to that weather, and understandably so, probably should have been. And so we'll see. The tough part about having stuff canceled or postponed this late in the game is that it's really hard to make up, because especially for basketball, which was the big thing yesterday, you don't have many dates left to get that played. And so I don't know what Colby and Scott City are going to do. I know they were scheduled to play yesterday. I don't know how they're going to get that scheduled in or not.
They might not, honestly.
That's the thing. Because the thing you want to get all the games in before Friday, because after Friday, that's when kind of the final records are set for Acacia to make up the postseason sub-state brackets. And so you've got to have your records in there. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I know what I know is that today Goodland is actually playing today, which I'm not going to lie, I'm shocked. I was shocked they're playing on, of all days, a Wednesday.
And get it in sometime, right?
All Wednesdays, it's Ash Wednesday. So happy Wednesday. So happy Ash Wednesday to all those out there who celebrate. But yeah, you're going to play on an Ash Wednesday, which is interesting. But they're going to play today a little bit earlier than usual. So it won't be a late Wednesday night. But at the same time, like I said, I'm kind of surprised that they're gonna sneak this game in. But I don't think Syracuse had an open. I think they have a game third. I think Syracuse, this could be 3 consecutive days of games. I think they got Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I think they do.
Oh, that is brutal.
So yeah, like I said, it's not an ideal time to have this happen, but we're gonna deal with it. So once again, in case you don't know, Goodland Cowboy and Cowgirl basketball will play tonight in Syracuse. Really, this afternoon is what I should say. It's 3:30 Mountain. 5 o'clock Mountain for girls, then boys.
Better get on the road
there. So yeah, I'll be leaving just after lunchtime to head down there to Syracuse and bring coverage of those games here on Rocket 102.5 KLOE. We'll also be there, of course, with the Goodland boys, providing video streaming as well for those who'd like to tune in and watch it. So anyway, that's a little update. And like I said, hope people are doing okay after a rough day yesterday weather-wise. Like I said, cooler today and kind of cooler the rest of this week. We're going to see I even see there's a slight chance of some snow coming up on Thursday. Very slight chance, even snow on Friday. So we could have some snow coming up here over the next couple of days. So get those snow shovels ready, those snow blowers ready. We might get a little dusting. Or just get your leaf blowers or brooms ready. You can sweep it away.
Or just your foot so you can swipe it out of the way.
You go get your foot.
Yeah.
So anyway, today's program, we will be visiting with the voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, Mark Johnson. He will join us on the program coming up. Good friend will join us. The voice of God will join us. He does have the voice of God. I've always said if God had a basketball team or a football team, his play-by-play man would be Mark Johnson, because he's got the voice.
He does have a great voice.
And so Mark Johnson will join us, and we'll have a conversation with him about Colorado hoops and also about just Colorado athletics in its entirety. We'll visit with him coming up. He's actually on a little bit of a bye, if you want to say that. Colorado does not play here in the midweek. They played this weekend, and they don't play again until Saturday. So they kind of have a little bit of a break here. And so we'll visit with Mark Johnson coming up here at around in about 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes from now. And we will get to a few other things as well tonight, including the resignation of the MLB Players Association representative, which I find to be fascinating. Now, I know the reason why he stepped down. I get that. But I think there's also another reason why he's stepping down. And we'll get to that coming up a little bit later on in the program. But last night, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a full moon. I don't know if it was just something in the air, but it was an upset type of night in college basketball last night. Lots and lots of upsets. Including, I don't even know if you want to call it an upset. I'm not going to say that it was. Included Kansas State taking down Baylor in convincing fashion, 90-74 was the final score last night. The Wildcats in the first game, underneath interim head coach Matthew Driscoll, go out there and dominate the Baylor Bears from pretty much start to finish. Even though at times K-State did some K-State things that they do this year, kind of get a little I don't want to say disinterested, but have some silly turnovers and some silly defensive breakdowns. They still found Baylor. It was almost like two uninterested teams playing against each other, and K-State was just a little bit more interested than Baylor was last night.
Well, Baylor's usually, you would think they'd be better because they have two guys who are projected to be first-round picks this year in the NBA draft, funnily enough, for their for where they are in the standings. But I got to give it to K-State. I watched the end of the first half and some of the beginning of the second half, and they looked like they were playing a lot more like a unit, and they did benefit from Nate Johnson going just berserk. He had 33 points, and him and PJ
Career high.
Haggerty. Yeah, him and PJ combined for almost 70 points in the game. So, it's hard to lose when you get scoring performances like that, and then everyone kind of filled in nicely behind with a bunch of 7, 5, 6-point games. And again, they looked like they were playing together a little bit. It seemed like Matthew Driscoll was able to rally the troops a little bit better than Jerome Tang may have been able to, even though throughout the week I'd seen stuff about a lot of these K-State players posting about like, man, like, miss you, Coach Tang, like, love you, like, I can't believe they did this, like, all this stuff. So I don't know, maybe they did like him, but it definitely seemed like a little bit of that interim boost, so to speak, like we see so often in sports, came into play. But I don't know, it's nice. And I was kind of looking at this yesterday. I'm like, Baylor is like the perfect team to play for K-State after this firing, because they're a team that's not that much farther up in the standings than them. Definitely a gettable game, and they play at home. I feel like they can notch a win here in the first one with Driscoll, and they did just that in pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the shooting, because last night, I mean, Baylor owned them on the glass, but you look at like shooting wise and things of that sort. Otherwise, stats are pretty even, but shooting wise, last night was the difference. I mean, Baylor is 28-70 for 40%, and K-State shoots almost 60% from the floor. I mean, that's the difference. K-State's converting a lot more baskets than Baylor was in this win last night. And like I said, there were some moments of the game being close, like late in the first half. K-State's only up 6, and they find a way to stretch it out. But it was. Okay, I don't know if there was anything. It has been an interesting dynamic to see what K-State, especially the dynamic between the players and Coach Tang. Like you said, with the players saying, "Oh, Coach," like you had just mentioned a little bit ago. But then it was interesting to hear Matthew Driscoll post game visit with Wyatt Thompson about, we decided we're going to play hard for Coach Tang the rest of the year. I mean, it's interesting to hear some of these things. And nonetheless, K-State goes out and gets it done. Now, once again, it's against Baylor. Now, they have lost to worse teams, but I mean, Baylor, like you said, is in the bottom 3 of the league, bottom 3 teams between K-State, Baylor, and Utah.
I think Cincy is, I would put them below personally.
But Cincinnati's 6-7 in conference play.
That is really surprising. Yeah, I got to be honest with you.
They're 6-7. Cincinnati's actually in the middle third of the Big 12 standings.
That's news to me.
The bottom 4 teams: Colorado, Baylor, K-State, Utah. Those are the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah, I figured Utah and Kansas State, but I guess Baylor is now 3-10 in conference, so that checks out. They're really talented. They should be better, honestly.
Anyway, some resiliency is what Matthew Driscoll called it from his team, both pretty much mental resiliency, as his team gets a win over Baylor last night. Final score, once again, 90-74. They've got, maybe another winnable game down the stretch here on the road at Colorado in about a week from today, actually, is when it is. But other than that, and then your home versus TCU, that's a tough game. You've got West Virginia is always tough. Then they've got to go to Kansas. They got to go to Texas Tech here on Saturday. So that might be the last win of the regular season for K-State.
Texas Tech might be beatable. I don't know.
Maybe.
We just saw what happened last night.
Like I said, more on that in a second, because actually more on that right now, because it was a wild night of college basketball. Go look at the scores from last night, if you would please.
Tons of upsets.
Just look at all the upsets that happened last night. I mean, despite Michigan just absolutely pounding Purdue, which that game was a 20-point game and plus for a majority of it. Purdue kind of got in it super late and got it down to single digits, ended up losing by 11. At Purdue, by the way, Michigan just dominated the Boilermakers. every other team that was ranked for the most part last night, unless your name is Miami of Ohio, because they don't lose, everybody else lost last night. Nebraska,
Even St. Louis finally got their first A-10 loss.
Like
Crazy.
I said, Nebraska losing, Texas Tech losing, North Carolina losing, St. Louis losing, Louisville losing, and Wisconsin losing to your Ohio State Buckeyes.
There is one other team that did handle business, Michigan State. I just wanted to get this out there. I don't know if you saw Mick Cronin's post-game interview. Oh,
yes, I did see that. That was bad.
They need to do him like they did Jerome Tank. Get him out of there. He is just and he kicked out a player mid-game too. Have you ever seen that before?
No, his player got a technical foul, and Mick Cronin, even though it was just one tech and not two, he still kicked him out of the game, kicked his own player out of the game.
That's ridiculous.
Some reporter asked him about the iZone post game. What do you think of the Michigan State iZone? And he was, congratulations on asking me the dumbest question ever, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know who he thinks he is, but I don't think it's really landing with anybody.
You don't care. I could see Mick Cronin being one of those guys like, I don't care if they fire me. College basketball sucks the way it is now.
Yeah, I think he might be trying to get out.
Maybe he is. I did not mention Florida did win. They're a top 12 team. They did win last night.
They played South Carolina, who are just total bottom feeders, frankly.
So it was, like I said, a bunch of upsets last night, including Nebraska going to Iowa, and what was just that was a hard game for yours truly to watch. That was tough. You want to know why it was hard? Is because I'm a huge Ben McCollum fan. I love Ben McCollum. I think he is a great basketball coach. And I have so much respect for him because he spent, I think it was 15 years, might have been a little bit less than that, in Maryville, Missouri, coaching D2 basketball and winning multiple national championships. But and then working his way up to Drake and having just an unbelievable 1 year at Drake, and now is over at Iowa and has them pretty much going to be going to the NCAA tournament, I have a feeling, barring they don't completely collapse here down the stretch. But that was hard to watch, and I'm a huge Bennett Sturtz fan. Same story. Started at Northwest Missouri State. Nobody wanted him. Guess what? He could be a first-team All-American this year, and he played last night. He was so good. He played so good, did Bennett Sturtz. His ability to score one-on-one on the drive. His defense was impeccable last night. And Iowa, as much as I hate to say it because it makes me sick, they out-toughed Nebraska last night there at Carver Hawkeye. That was hard to watch because Nebraska could have won the game, but couldn't make any shots. Unfortunately, couldn't get a lot of calls to go their way either. And Iowa just made a few more plays down the stretch in what was a defensive struggle, and Iowa gets the win 57-52. Now, these two teams will play again in Lincoln coming up here to finish up the regular season, but that was just that was a tough one to watch because I'm happy for Ben McCollum and I'm happy for Bennett Sturtz. I could give a rat's butt about anything else about Iowa, but I'm happy for those guys. But it made me mad. I would rather see them have great times, just not against Cornhuskers.
I've got a question for you. Is Iowa Nebraska's rival? Because I've never been able to figure that out.
Yes, I mean, I think of the Big Ten era, it's their rival. I mean, Nebraska has. Are you talking all sports or just basketball? Because Nebraska doesn't really have a basketball rival.
Yeah, I was going to say, I look at that and I don't think there is one, but I guess all sports, it would probably apply here too.
I think since the joining of the Big Ten, which is now, 15, 16 years ago?
It's been a while.
Iowa is probably Nebraska's biggest rival in the conference. I know there's a lot of fans that say, oh, Iowa isn't our rival. No, they need to be because they've whooped your butt. And so I would say Iowa has become Nebraska's rival in the Big Ten. Of course, the one that everybody really hates in Nebraska is probably Colorado. Is probably the biggest rival. Oklahoma, of course, but that's a rivalry of class, I guess, if you want to call it. That's more based upon football. So
definitely.
Yeah, I think of the Big Ten era, Iowa is the rival for Nebraska. And so anyway, this was a tough game to watch last night. It was not pretty. Like I said, Nebraska was just out-toughed. And boy, Iowa played like a team that needed a win against a top 10 foe to help their tournament resume. And they got it. They played really good. So all the credit to them. That was a great win for Iowa last night. And Nebraska's lost 4 of their last 6 games. And ever since they kind of quote unquote emptied the tank to try to beat Michigan on the road here earlier this month, they've dropped 4 of their last 6. They've lost to Illinois, Michigan, and Purdue, all teams that are currently ranked in the top 10 of the national poll. But of course, the loss here to Iowa was their first unranked loss, which you'll have to explain to me, being more of a person who's experienced college basketball success as a fan of Ohio State. But a loss like this happens at least once a year, where you drop a game to a foe that you're really not supposed to. You have a game where it just doesn't go your way and you lose to an opponent you shouldn't lose to.
That happens for every team. I mean,
Yes.
You saw Texas Tech just did it with Arizona State. Like, every very good team has it. And I think you could say either way which team is better, a Nebraska or a Texas Tech. But Ohio State, for example, sometimes that loss happens in the wrong time. Like back in 2021, it happened in the tournament when we lost to Oral Roberts in the first round. That wasn't too fun, but
nope.
You hope to get that one out of your system in the regular season. And it's like when Michigan lost to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not a bad team by any means. I mean, they're ranked, and they're probably, I don't know, the 6th best team in the Big Ten right now, maybe. But hey, then they can go and lose to an Ohio State, who's not the greatest team this year, bubble team. But yeah, every great team is going to have one really bizarre loss like this a year. And granted, you say that we've had some more basketball success over the past couple of years. Typically, we've been the worst team dealing the bad loss.
You've had the Aaron Kraft times. You've had the Evan Taylor times. You've had Nebraska.
Evan Turner.
Nothing. Sorry, Evan Turner. Nebraska's had nothing in sort of success.
That is true. We've had some great eras, and then even the year with D'Angelo Russell. Oh, that was incredible back in 2014.
You've had some years. Nebraska has not had really any. And so this is a once in a lifetime for most of us Husker basketball fans season. And hopefully I'm hoping their last 5 games they can go 4-1 is my hope.
Yes. Well, I guess my advice would be don't get too worried.
Well, I mean, the fun part is it doesn't matter. Nebraska's in the tournament, and if you would have told me that Nebraska is going to be 22-4 in late February, I'd been like, I'll take it.
Yeah. And it's not like Iowa's a bunch of scrubs too. They're still like a top half team.
No way. And this is kind of like, in no way is that. I just think there's concern for Nebraska because they play only 7 guys and they only really have 2 bigs.
I don't think they're going to go to the Final Four or anything.
No, I don't know why people think that's going to happen. Unless they just get on an absolute heater during the tournament from 3 and can't miss.
It could happen too.
But I don't see that happening. Nebraska needs another big. What I would do to have Amari Bynum would be unbelievable. I would take Amari Bynum in a heartbeat. To have just a young guy out there that can go grab boards and dunk block a few shots and get a few dunks. What I would take for that would be and maybe knock down an occasional 3.
Yes.
I would take it in a heartbeat because that's what Nebraska needs so badly. They need another big man body. There's going to be a game, and I bet it's going to happen in the tournament, where Nebraska runs into a foe that just is unbelievably athletic and can go get rebounds and putbacks, and Nebraska's going to get burned because they're just not that. Nebraska, once again, is a team that plays like a bunch of rec league guys. They're heady, they're smart, they play well, they're fundamentally sound, but when you go up against some real freakazoids, you have some real troubles. And I think that can happen to Nebraska, unfortunately, and they just don't have the depth as well. So anyway, enough on that. But like you said, and like you mentioned, a crazy night last night, tons of upsets. Only Florida and Miami of Ohio were ranked, were the teams that survived last night. Otherwise, and of course, Michigan over Purdue.
Yeah.
But those are the only teams that survived. Everyone else that was ranked lost last night in college basketball.
I did want to shout out Ohio State just for a quick second.
Yeah, you bet. They got a huge win.
A 17-point win, finally.
Over the hottest team probably in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they just came off a win over Purdue, I think. And I was a little bit pleased that, I wasn't happy that the game got canceled last night because, it would have been nice for the seniors to have their senior night, and hopefully that gets rescheduled to a later date. But I was selfishly pleased that I could go watch Ohio State basketball against Wisconsin in a game where they really really needed a win because I think in this final stretch of this season, anyone who follows Ohio State basketball slightly, so probably just me within the sound of my voice, they need to win, I'd say, 4 of the last 6 games down the stretch to really lock in a tournament bid. And this is a pretty good start. Beating Wisconsin handily at home. Devin Royal, after putting up pretty much just 2 points against Virginia, had 25. Bruce Thornton reached 2,000 career points. Shout out to him. He's number 3 on the all-time scoring list for Ohio State. So I was very pleased watching this one. And your boy Amari Bynum, 13 points, 6 boards, 2 steals, and a block, not to mention 3 threes.
I need that guy so badly on my team.
He did foul out, though.
I don't care.
It didn't matter, though.
I don't care. I
Game
need
was
another.
banned.
I need a big man. I need a 6'8" to 6'10" guy who can just go grab boards and make a few baskets. Oh, that's what I need so badly. But anyway, crazy night in college basketball last night. That is for sure. All right, we got to get to a break. Mark Johnson will join us next. Voice of the Colorado Buffaloes. Been an interesting year for the Buffaloes. I got some interesting questions for him to talk about the season. We'll get to all that next here on a Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, if it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snow blowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
From drive-through banking to mobile deposit, we make it easy to get things done on your schedule. Banking should fit your life, not the other way around. This is Jessica Von Lintel at F&B Bank. Banking made simple.
In a small town, your banker should know more than just your account number. They should know your name. At F&B Bank, we believe in real conversations, friendly faces, and decisions made right here at home. I'm Paige Sneathen, Vice President at F&B Bank, and we're proud to serve your family like our own. Member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jerry Bob with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It is Wednesday, February 18th. March corn up 1 1/4 at 427.5. May up 1 1/4 at 437. July up a penny at 445 1/4. December up 3/4 at 460 3/4. Soybeans on the March up 6 1/4 at 1140 1/4. May up 6 1/4 at 1155. July up 6 1/4 at 1168. November up 3 at 1120. KC wheat on the March up 7 3/4 at 546.5. May up 7 1/4 at 557 3/4. July up 7 1/4 at 571. Chicago wheat up 7 at 544 3/4. Feeder cattle finished yesterday 370.97.5. Live cattle 246.55. Lean hogs 92.30. Crude oil futures up $1.56 a barrel at 63.89. Gold futures up 73 an ounce at 49.56. Silver up 225 at 75.70. U.S. dollar index up 20 points at 97.26. Dow futures up 55 at 49,668. S&P futures up 13 at 6,873.50. Being to move any category and want to talk about risk management, reach out to myself, Jared Ball, Tom Slither, Tyler Goshen, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson
the High Plains only local sports talk show.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The Morning Blitz.
Continuing on a Wednesday show, 8:38 Central, 7:38 Mountain Time. We will be getting to some thoughts on some big news in Major League Baseball in our final segment today. But a man who's has a little reprieve, I would say, from his busy season of college basketball, the radio voice and the play-by-play voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, Mark Johnson, kind of to join us on the Hoover Lumber's Hardware Hotline. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Good morning. Good to be on with you. Yeah, we got what we call in the Big 12 the bye week, which means we don't have a midweek game, and so it's always nice to kind of catch your breath after a long season. Yeah,
I was going to say, and being the outdoorsman that you are, you love to get out and do things. I'm sure you really love a nice little break in the middle of the season.
It's kind of nice. And I'm actually out in Beloit, Kansas right now, right around the Osborne area. And I got out here and came out to work my dogs a little bit. So we're going to spend some time outdoors today. And so I enjoy that. And then we got to get back home because I got a little roping event on Thursday night. And then Saturday, we got Oklahoma State coming into Boulder. So we can jump right back into it. For the stretch run, we're getting down to the end of the year now. Only 5 games left for the Buffs in Big 12 play before we all head to Kansas City for the Big 12 Conference Tournament.
I got to ask one more question. How have the dogs been working here early on since you've gone out to Central Kansas?
Well, we got out here yesterday a little later than I wanted to because of a couple of responsibilities yesterday morning. So we didn't do any working yesterday when I got here. So right now they're sitting and staring at me because they know we're going out today. So right now they're giving me the stink eye because they're like, let's get out, let's do this deal.
Well, we'll try to be quick on this and let those puppies run. Mark Johnson, the radio voice of the Colorado Buffaloes. Mark, what were your expectations for this CU Buff squad going into the year, and how have they either met or not met those expectations as we sit here with a little less than a couple weeks left to go in the regular season?
Well, we knew a couple of things. You know, in this odd existence we have in college athletics right now, where every year it seems like we have to get used to a new team because rosters roll over and guys transfer in and out. And with this was a young team. I think the Buffs either the first or second youngest team in the Big 12, and so it's a talented squad. We knew that they were going to have some trials at different times, and then on top of it, Colorado's got the lowest payroll, and I can't believe we're talking about that in college athletics. The lowest payroll in the Big 12, and so you wonder how that's going to affect things. We thought this team, and then let's throw in a third factor, right? The fact that they're playing in the best college basketball conference in America. We knew that their chances of going out and winning the Big 12 were going to be, very, very difficult. But we figured this team would probably be kind of in the middle of the pack, and they've got an opportunity when it's all said and done. Right now, they're sitting in that bottom third, but there's a few games coming up where you think, okay, they've got a very good chance to win that. So they're about where we figured they might be in this league. Now, they are talented. They've only got one senior on this team, and he's really not even playing right now. And so the question for Colorado becomes, can they keep this thing together and maintain, the heart of this roster to kind of let it mature a little bit like you would traditionally. And in today's day and age of college athletics, that's a difficult thing to do. It's a question for everybody every year, and so we'll see what happens. But right now they're playing some pretty good basketball. Just last weekend we were at BYU and took BYU to overtime and did a great job on the guy that might be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, AJ DeBonsta, and so made him work for everything that he had. So it's a fun team to watch.
Mark, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about calling that wild BYU game. Just tell us a little bit more about that one.
Well, it was a fun game, especially considering what had happened just a few days before that. The Buffs, had a very lopsided game against Texas Tech, and the head coach, Tad Boyle, was very upset about the way they played. He got a little national attention because he talked about after the ball game not sure they deserved to be on a charter flight. He said it'd be more appropriate, like when he was back in northern Colorado a number of years ago, to go home, back to the hotel room late, get up very early, and head to the airport and and have to deal with all those kind of difficulties because he wasn't sure they deserved the charter flight. I did remind him, by the way, that the play-by-play guy was outstanding. He did deserve to fly in the charter flight.
I was going to ask, what did you think on that?
That was my point. Okay, everyone else can stay and take an early morning flight. I want to go home with the charter tonight. But so to have a short turnaround, we got home late from Lubbock. You had one day in town. Friday, then we're traveling again. You go back to Provo and play a top 25 team and a guy that's truly a supreme talent, AJ DeBonsa. And to have the kind of effort they did against that, that quality of team and lose in overtime in a very, very tough basketball game and a phenomenal environment. That was the day they were retiring Jimmer Fredette's number. And so, there was 18,000 people there. It was electric. There was all sorts of expectations. So for the Bucs to play that level of basketball in that environment, I thought was a good sign for a young team.
Mark Johnson is our guest, radio voice of the Colorado Buffaloes. You talked about this young team and trying to keep it together. That's one thing that Tad Boyle's been pretty decent at, has been able to keeping his roster kind of together and building a program. That's kind of been his MO through the course of his tenure there.
Well, he's really, I don't think I was going to say he's really not a fan of this new system. I'm not sure anybody's really a fan of it other than the players who are getting paid. But what he's trying to be is an outlier. He's trying to maintain kind of a traditional model with the Colorado Buffaloes basketball program and understanding full well, okay, we're going to be paying people and you're going to lose a few. But see, so he really recruits from a different, I would say, standpoint of really talking about kind of the depth of what college athletics was. And what I mean by that is talking about history, legacy, education. What a novel concept in college athletics, talking about education. And so he's very picky when he goes out and the players he looks at. Yes, he wants to be talented, but he really looks at what is the home foundation like? Is this a family that values education, that values kind of the traditional things? And so he's done that, and he's bucking the trend a little bit. And I'm cheering for him because first off, I love the guy. I think he's a phenomenal coach. And I like what he's doing in regards to kind of that approach. It's a little bit, shall we say, the anti-Lane Kiffin, if I can put it in those terms. And so I hope he's very successful with it. He's had some great success with it. And so it's kind of a unique approach in 2026. And we'll see where it all goes, because none of this, of course, we're standing at shifting sand when it comes to everything in college athletics. But I applaud Taft for how he's trying to approach this.
And one of the guys he's developed this year, Isaiah Johnson, the freshman guard, he's been pretty incredible this season in his first year. Just tell us a little bit about how it's been watching that kid grow and develop as a player.
Well, he's very fun. I mean, first off, he looks like he's 14 years old. I mean, I'm not sure he even shaves yet. And he's 6'1". We had him on a show here a couple of weeks ago. I said, "What do you weigh?" He said, "I weigh 164 pounds." I'm like, goodness gracious. But despite the fact that he's not the biggest guy, and your listeners may or may not know his background, his father's been a longtime NBA trainer, and he's been tied in with LeBron's organization, Clutch. His godfather is Dwayne Wade. We were down at Tempe here a number of weeks ago, and I turned around, and Chris Paul came to the game specifically to see him because they've known each other for so long. He did tell me that since he was about 13 or 14 years old, he's been playing pickup games with NBA players. And so he's got a phenomenal view of basketball. He's not overwhelmed by any of this. And I think in a normal year, and I say normal in regards to this might be one of the deepest freshman classes in college basketball we've had in a long time. I saw speculation the other day, the first 12 picks in the NBA draft may be college freshmen. And so in a normal year where it's not quite that deep, I think he'd be getting a lot more conversation around the country than he is, because he's a fantastic player. And he's got, despite his lack of size and, the fact that he has no peach fuzz on his chin yet, he's a tough kid. He's able to go in there and play amongst the trees. He's got a little McKinley Wright in that regard, where if you remember the great buff guard would go in there at 6'1", and, he'd be grabbing offensive rebounds and putting it back up against 7-foot guys. And he's got a little bit of that in him. And so I very much enjoy Isaiah Johnson. I think when the season's over, we talk about keeping this group together. I think he and Barrington Hargress, the point guard, are targets 1A and 1B in terms of guys that Tad has to keep moving forward to kind of continue to progress this program.
With that being said, though, you talk about Isaiah Johnson. They have a very good balance, particularly offensively, with 4 guys over double-digit points. I mean, sometimes you see teams that have, one guy that goes out and drops 18 to 20 points a game, and everyone else kind of sprinkles in a little bit here or there. But it's good balance. You don't know who exactly could be the star player each night for Colorado, it feels like.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, they've got 4 guys that you mentioned averaging double figures. I think 6 or 7 times they've had 5 guys go double digits this season. Now you're seeing the development of, Ian Inman is playing more. He had 12 points against Tech here just a couple of games ago, coming in off the bench. The young man from Houston, Jalen Holland, has had big games. Josiah Sanders, Taco Ifala. And so there's depth on this team. And that certainly has helped Colorado. Now they just got to figure things out on the defensive end and rebounding, because those have not been nearly as consistent as they need to be.
Mark, when you look at the league, you talked about how the Big 12 is the best in the country, and I don't think anybody would really dispute that too much. Is this the best you've seen a conference? You've seen the Big 12 you've seen the Big 8, the Big 12, the Big. You've been to the Pac-12. Is this the best basketball conference you've seen here this year with the Big 12 and how it's looked?
Boy, I think so. I saw a number the other day. In fact, I screenshot it and texted it to Tad, and I said, "How about this deal?" There are 50 going into last night's action. So, it may have changed last night. I haven't looked. In fact, it might have with Texas Tech losing to Arizona State. So this number might not be valid anymore. But up to this point, 15 teams in the country had not lost a game outside of Quad 1. 6 of them were in the Big 12. And so it is just a just unforgiving league, because it seems like every night you're facing NBA talent, one of the best freshmen in America, one of the top 50 teams in America from a net standpoint. It's changed as well. I know that for a long period of time, every team in the Big 12 was inside the top 100 with the exception of Utah. Kansas State, I think, fell out, but they had a nice win last night. Did they win? They won last night, didn't they? I think Kansas State ended up winning last night.
Yes, they beat Baylor, yes.
Yeah. And so that might have put them back inside the top 100. So think about that. You've got out of all the teams in the league, all but one has been inside the top 100. And so that's a pretty impressive deal when you get this deep into February. And so this league right now is really, really impressive, really good. And, it's the kind of league that costs coaches their job, because it's so hard to win in this league.
Mark, what do you think would be a great finish to this season for the Buffaloes? I don't know if they're going to be able to make the tournament or not, but the big dance, obviously. But what do you think would be a great finish for this team once like you've said before, that's still pretty young and growing together?
Well, I think you look at the stretch run of the season. You got 5 games remaining. You got Oklahoma State at home on Saturday. Kansas State's going to be in the mix, and then Utah is the road game that you've got. Now, sprinkled in the middle of all those is Arizona and Houston. Now, those are pretty steep hills to climb when you look at those 2 ball games. You're talking about 2 national championship contending programs right there. But Colorado's got a chance. 2 of those 3 games I mentioned, out of Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Utah at home. I think you've got a great opportunity. If this young team can continue to gel, and you get those 3 wins, you go 3-2 down the stretch. Now you got 17 wins overall. You'd be at 7 or 8 wins in conference play in this league. That's a very nice season for a young team. If you can get there, I think you got a great opportunity maybe to get in the NIT. And so postseason play could continue for Colorado. But that would be a heck of a deal. That would put you at 7-11 in the Big 12. And that's a pretty good spot to be in, considering the league you play in. And I think that would be a promising finish to the year. You're above 500 overall. You've won, a good chunk of your games in the toughest league in basketball, and I think that's a good springboard for a young team to move forward. So if they can get to that, I think you'd feel pretty good about that if you're a Bucs fan.
Radio voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, good friend Mark Johnson. Mark, thank you so much for the time today. Appreciate it. Let those doggies out and go do some chasing. All right.
Yeah, I'll believe it. They're like I said, they're giving me the stink eye. So as soon as we hang the phone up here, we're heading on out and getting them to work, and they'll be much happier. So I appreciate it, guys. Always good to talk with you.
See you, Mark. Once again, great stuff
Thank you,
there. Mark Johnson, play-by-play voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. The voice of God, as we like to say. Yeah, gonna go. He is such an interesting guy. I mean, if he is not calling games, he is He is, out doing stuff with his dogs for bird hunting. He's in the springtime and in summertime, he's going fishing out in the river, doing fly fishing. If he's not doing that, he's riding horses and doing rodeo.
That's
stuff.
awesome.
I mean, he is such a man of so many
outdoorsman
skill. He is an outdoorsman. Well, heck, you know what happened a couple of years ago? You didn't know this, but when I kind of first met him, he got hurt doing rodeo stuff. Fell off, got bucked off his horse, and had to, couldn't really sit for a while. Had to stand to do ball games for a while. Really had to go through some tough stuff. So yeah, he is a very much an outdoorsman and loves to go do things. That is for sure. All right, let's get to our break. When we come back, a little news surrounding Tony Clark, the MLB Players Association representative. He has resigned, and there's a reason why he has. But I think there's a bigger reason why he's okay with it being this way. We'll get to that next here on the Morning Blitz.
NWKS Radio presents
my story, and I'm just digging to it.
Country music superstar Colin Ray.
That's when I knew you were my kind of girl.
Live in concert, June 27th at the Colby Event Center in Colby, Kansas.
I can still feel.
Hear all of the big hits. Sing along with all of your Colin Ray favorites.
And between now and then, until I see you again, I'll be loving you. Love me.
An exciting journey through 90s country with Colin Ray.
But if I were you, I'd promise to live life for all it's worth.
Saturday, June 27th at the Colby Event Center in Colby, Kansas.
So now I come to you.
Colin Ray, live in concert. Get your tickets now at nwksradio.net.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Farmers, the irrigation season may be over, but that doesn't mean you put off your end-of-the-season problems until next year. Get those issues taken care of now while they're still fresh in your mind. Get a hold of the crew at Western Sprinklers now and get on the schedule to be a part of their fall maintenance program. They'll service everything from checking the gearbox oils, center drives, and replacing your worn U-joints to inspecting your micro switches and contactors to even updating your drop hoses to lifetime poly drops. Be sure your pivots are ready to roll next season with the help of Western Sprinklers in Colby, where irrigation isn't a sideline, it's their specialty.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
All right, just a couple minutes left to go here in the program. I want to get to the news keep seeing popping up about Major League Baseball as we get closer to the season. I think actually this weekend we got some spring training games that are going to get going, I think, here on Saturday.
Yes, we are.
But Tony Clark is the Major League Baseball Players Association representative. So whenever they go to, when he represents the players, whenever they get into a discussion with the league and represents the players as best he can, he's been doing it now for, I think, almost 10 years. I've been doing it for a while. I think Tony Clark has. And anyway, he is resigning. I think the biggest thing is that the reason that he is resigning is because of something that happened away. Had to do something with his sister-in-law. We're just going to leave it at that. It's not a good
ridiculous
with Tony Clark, but so he's got some scandalous things going on. But I'm telling you right now, if I'm Tony Clark, I don't want this job right now.
No.
I don't want this job at all. In fact, I don't know who's going to take this job.
Because he's long retired, so I feel like it would have to be somebody who's been out of the league for a second. But real quick, I was looking up Tony Clark, and obviously I didn't see him play. But Did you know he was 6'8"? I didn't know he was that
big
tall.
Guy. He's big.
Yeah.
But the thing that stands out to me is that I don't know who they're going to get to represent the players in this upcoming negotiation that's going to happen after this season. But that is going to be one of the more stressful positions in all of sports.
Yeah, going right into a lockout potentially. I mean,
well, think about it. You're going to have Major League Baseball owners, and I think Major League Baseball wanting to say, we want to put in a cap. We want to put in some sort of cap to prevent the Dodgers from just stockpiling players. We want to spread the wealth around so we have a little bit more competitive fairness. And the players, which there's already been preliminary discussions in locker rooms about how, they're working their way towards a cap, which means a lot of you guys in these humongously ridiculous $300, $400 million contracts, those are going to be a thing of the past. And the people that are getting paid those contracts obviously are upset that they're not going to get that kind of money anymore. And they're concerned. And of course, that makes them mad. And so the player rep, like Tony Clark and whoever's going to replace him, has to go to the Major League Baseball and say, well, we're not fair with this. There is going to be such a headlock or two heads just knocking each other after this season. I don't know how they're going to get it done. I really don't. I think it's going to be very hard.
I think we're going to miss some games. That's my prediction.
Oh, I can guarantee it. The question is, are you going to miss a season?
That would suck. I really hope not, but it just seems like it's going to happen at this point. That
if you have a bunch of owners like Dick Monfort at the Rockies, they don't care. They've got plenty of money. They're like, well, we don't need to play this year. We'll just sit on our butts and whatever.
Yeah,
we're fine. And the player, like, if you don't play, you're not going to get paid. To me, it's just it's a fascinating thing because I think coming up here after this season, there is going to be a lockout, and the question is how big it is, because someone's going to have to give up something. And my guess is the players are going to have to give up more than what the owners are, because the owners want to put it some sort of cap. They want to have some sort of cap. And in order to do that, you're going to have players saying, well, wait, you can't be on our team if you're, like the Dodgers, they're going to have to shred some of that money that they've got tied up and stuff. I don't care how deferred it is. But I'm just saying, the person who takes over for Tony Clark, Tony Clark resigned for other reasons, but I'm guaranteeing in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm kind of thankful I'm out of that. Because
good time to get out.
Yes, because the person who's going to represent the players going forward, it's going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult. So we'll see how that looks. Starting up here after the 2026 season for Major League Baseball. There is some really rough waters and rocky times ahead for MLB baseball. So just get prepared.
High drive, deep left, grand slam! And back lifts his ball high, deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
All right, as we close up shop here on this Wednesday, saw some news here this morning that the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are going to once again, for the fourth consecutive year, rework his contract to create more room in the salary cap. They've created some space. They've created about $43.65 million in cap space by restructuring Mahomes' contract for the fourth consecutive year. So, by the way, the cap is $54.45 million of Mahomes' salary. It lowers it to $34.65 million. Patrick Mahomes has got so much money. What's a couple million?
Did you ever watch the quarterback documentary on Netflix?
Yes.
And you saw his house?
Oh, I know. It's
crazy.
It's an unbelievable shack.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But yeah, this is what Brett Veach does, though. He is amazing about reworking contracts to get the team under the cap, to create some space, to still make them competitive. Although last year they weren't very competitive, obviously. Also, before we get out of here, shout out to Goodland girls golf coach, reigning state champion at 3A, Connie Livengood. She was named, I just saw it this morning, the Kansas Golf Coach Association Coach of the Year, Girls Coach of the Year. So shout out to Coach Goods on being named Coach of the Year. So congratulations to her. All right, that'll do it for our program today. Once again, reminder, we'll have coverage of Goodland, Cowgirl, and Cowboy basketball. Early tip time of 3:30 Mountain. right here on Rocket 102.5 KLOE as we have some basketball here on a Wednesday afternoon. So we'll talk to you then, and we'll see you here in 23 hours for another edition of the Morning Blitz. See ya.